Hello, friends. Welcome to the Kumbi-Gikku show. And this is GK Sports India YouTube channel where we are going to discuss what's in store for the all-important final of this Asia Cup, India versus Pakistan. Sri, can we say India versus Pakistan 3.0 on Sunday, the final, third consecutive week?
All years, Zico, you started off with 1.0, it went to 2.0 and it's 3.0. Yes.
Yeah.
You win at the name, yeah, we go with 3.0.
Yeah, so that's the case, Srinath, cricketer turned umpire and our expert in this YouTube channel. Good evening, and India versus Pakistan. India, can we say they had a reality check against Sri Lanka in the last Super 4? The match ending in super over with a tie, and India remaining undefeated going into the final.
Absolutely. I think it was more like the final of the Asia Cup. Cracker of a contest. And you said, yes, I wouldn't say a reality check. I would say a real good workout. The Indians were made to sweat it out and, had a good real test before they play Pakistan in the finals. And in fact, in the preview of the Asia Cup, I had mentioned one of the better sides, in T20 format is Sri Lanka. They've got some terrific cricketers, in terms of Patum Nisanka. They've got Kusal Mendes, Kusal Pereira, Dashun Shanaka, the skipper Charita Salanka. Good variety of fast bowlers in Chamira, Tikshana. So, I mean, unfortunate, that they are also going through a phase wherein they're finding it difficult to get their combination right. But overall, a terrific game of cricket, and happy for Sri Lanka. And in fact, I did read in one of the presses wherein surprising thing was Sanjay Surya said that he was happy with the outcome and the way Sri Lankans played this Asia Cup. To me, yes, honestly speaking, it looked like the finals of the Asia Cup. But nevertheless, a good workout for India, having rested Bumrah and Shivam Dube, as we discussed, and it was Harshit Rana and Arshdeep who came in. So, yes, a day off, and again, we are back 3.0 India-Pakistan final after 41 years since the inception of Asia Cup. Surprising thing because Pakistan has been a team which has done well. Of course, in the recent past, maybe a decade or so, they have struggled a bit, especially against India. But in the late 70s, early 80s, early 90s, I think they were one of the forces to reckon in world cricket. But surprising to see 41 years, first time they're meeting India in the Asia Cup finals.
Yeah, but one constant factor has been in all these 41 years, Sri Lanka have made it to umpteen number of Asia Cup finals. It's either India versus Sri Lanka or Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. Never an India versus Pakistan final until this Sunday. Yeah, but speaking of Sri Lanka, and very briefly we'll stick to that. The team that ran India close in this entire tournament, unfortunately, they are not in the final, isn't it? Like you just mentioned about the quality of the batting order, the bowlers going through a transition phase or whatever. But still, India versus Sri Lanka would have been an ideal final, but then no taking away any credit from Pakistan.
Absolutely. I think, as we always talk about the Asian superpowers, it used to be India and Pakistan once upon a time. And the island nation chipped in. They played some good quality of cricket. Of course, they produced some world-class cricketers. And, Afghanistan in the recent past has become a, force to reckon in T20 cricket. Bangladesh always has been a team which has blown hot and cold, though they've been, a test playing nation for a very long time now. I think, yes, overall, you look at it, I think on paper, you should say the two best teams have made it to the finals. Of course, India being the firm favorites. But as you mentioned, I think, I would have also loved to see an India-Sri Lanka finals, which I would reckon was a mini final before the real final to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, and what lessons could India have learned from their close finish against Sri Lanka? Match ending in a tie, and then the super over was actually not a super over at all, wasn't it? Sri Lanka lost both their wickets, made only 2 runs, and India just just took only one ball to just knock off the required 3 runs. So, what lessons can India learn going into the final?
I think more than lessons, I think they would take, the confidence forward into the final. Because when you play a, a real nerve-cracking tight game before you play the grand finale, I think the confidence is what that would be boosted big time around. To me, I think the takeaway for India from this game would be the welcome form of Tilak Verma and Sanju Samson. Both of them striking rich form because at one point in time, when India lost Shubman Gill early in the innings, as again the unstoppable, he's like a hurricane now, Abhishek Sharma. So he really put on those big runs to start with, and India were on course to get to 200. But at one point in time, it looked a bit tough. But again, Akshar Patel had a brief cameo in the end. So I think India would take forward all these positives, and of course, you would definitely have Bumrah back in the finals. So, I mean, I thought the fielding was definitely, much, much better than what it was in the previous Super 4 or league games. So, it's all about carrying the momentum and confidence forward. That's it. I think India is, the team to be beaten, or they need to lose this Asia Cup rather than Pakistan winning it.
Right, and thanks to Akshar Patel's last ball six, India posted the first 200 of this Asia Cup. We also saw the first and only century in this tournament so far from the brilliant Pathum Nisank of Sri Lanka. But like you said, Abhishek Sharma, the Hurricane, Abhishek Sharma, third consecutive 50. But what's the other batsman doing? Like you have Abhishek Sharma leading run scorer of this tournament, and the next two Indian batsmen are Sanju Samson, who whenever he has got chance, he has proved himself. Yesterday he scored or on Friday he scored a 39. Tilak Verma, again another performer with 49 not out. But is Suryakumar Yadav's form a concern? Because they talk about 99 runs in his last 10 T20 innings. I'll stretch it further and say 125 runs in the last 13 innings since he scored his last T20 100, averaging around 13 or so. What's Suryakumar Yadav going through, or is it just like they say, one knock away from getting into form?
Well, you said what is it that India would like to, what lessons India can learn. I think it's the batting form of the captain, because he's the most experienced campaigner in this side, having played the maximum number of T20Is, and he's the captain of this, fantastic young Indian side. Numbers are one side. I think it's just a small blip because he's always called as Sky. So sky is always, the limit for him is the sky. But unfortunately, when he sets such lofty standards for himself, and when we see a lean phase or lean patch he's going through in the last 12, 13 games he's played, I mean, eyebrows will certainly raise, and people already are talking about the form of Surya Kumar Yadav. Well, like you mentioned, I mean, such players, are just one knock away. And when I just said that I'm putting my money on Abhishek Sharma for this Asia Cup, he's the go-to man for India. So, come a final, and you never know. To raise to the occasion would be somebody like Surya Kumar Yadav. So that's been the only concern for India in this whole journey of this particular edition of the Asia Cup. Though the batters have blown hot and cold. Yesterday, we were discussing about we would certainly not look at scores in excess of 170, 180 on a regular basis. So this was the first time around when India got to 200, and it was equal by Sri Lanka also. So the worry factor would be Surya, but having known him for a very, very long time, very mentally strong bloke. So as I said, couple of strikes away from scoring big. Though he made a 47 against Pakistan, that was also not something very typically we would associate with Surya Kumar Yadav. A bit scratchy, but as you say, just a couple of strikes is just one knock away from getting back to what the original Sky is called renownedly. We always know.
And anything in the bowling front, the highest wicket taker of this tournament, Kuldeep Yadav with 13 wickets, went wicketless and was hit for some runs by the Sri Lankans. that's just a one-off. Can we say that?
Absolutely. I think, see, yesterday's wicket was one of the best ones that was laid out in this whole tournament. So obviously, when India got to 200 and Sri Lanka, were on par, tying the game. So excepting, I think, Varun and Kuldeep, who went for 7 plus. The rest of the bowlers were all over the park, especially Harshdeep Singh and Harshit Rana. They were quite expensive. So in a game where, runs are scored in excess of 10, obviously you will have a couple of bowlers, going for runs. I think, it's not a worrying factor at all. And Kuldeep is a proven and a classy performer. And come the final on Sunday, he'll certainly raise the bar. And obviously, he needs that challenge. And what better stage for him to prove a point? So obviously, I mean, it's nothing to worry about. It was simply like Bumrah going for 45 against Pakistan in the Super Force, and people were worried about the way Bumrah was going around. So sort of comeback he made against Bangladesh. So I think Kuldeep also is somebody who's on the same level like what Bumrah is, especially in the shortest format.
And Pakistan, you expect them to come better than the previous two Sundays and give some contest for India, considering that they did well against Bangladesh in the must-win or a virtual semi-final, defending a low total and winning it handsomely to qualify for the finals. Your thoughts on the Pakistan and
Well,
their going into this final?
I think overall Pakistan as a side has looked a bit disoriented, when their bowlers have done well, the batters have not come good. So it's basically the bowlers who've been winning them games in this Asia Cup. Well, they would be happy to qualify for the finals, but certainly again their batters came cropper in the game against Bangladesh. I think Bangladesh panicked. Their shot selection was pretty poor. In fact, Bangladesh should have been comfortably, one step ahead of Pakistan, and they should have had a foot in the finals. But unfortunately, they panicked. As I said, the poor shot selection, nerves, so they didn't get through. Maybe if Sri Lanka had played in the place of Bangladesh against Pakistan, chasing that total, I think they would have won comfortably.
Hmm.
Pakistan's top order has been a problem. Saeem Ayub, whom so much was spoken about, I think is barely, got off the mark. So what combination they would strike? They've still not got Hassan Ali on the park. So it's been surprising with some bizarre selections. They've persisted with some, batters who've not made runs, especially their captain is struggling to get off the blocks. So what sort of confidence he would, effuse into the team is a big question mark. The only, welcome sign for them is now Shaheen Shah Afridi is turned into an all-rounder for Pakistan. So that's been the mindset and the form of the Pakistani batters. So Shaheen Shah Afridi has carried the baton. He's bowled well in the last couple of games. Of course, has contributed reasonably well in the lower order. I would expect Pakistan to definitely come back stronger and put up a better show, which would be there at the back of their mind. But with the sort of current form that batters are in, it's going to be an Herculean task for them to come up against the likes of Bumrah, Hardik Pandya, and the spin trio of Akshar, Kuldeep, and Varun.
Right, and just mentioned about the Pakistan-Bangladesh match. I got a feeling that it was a case of who was going to lose that match. Pakistan batsmen were just giving
Absolutely.
away their wickets with going for big shots and giving catches. Ditto Bangladesh. So in the end, Pakistan prevailed and they are in the final. So let's whether it is going to be India with their ninth Asia Cup victory or Pakistan with their third Asia Cup title, that's plenty to play for and lots to look forward to on Sunday evening. Thank you very much, Ray, for this preview and wonderful thoughts into the final. See you after the show, after the final, that is. And take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.